LowKey TV, breaking fools off.
What up, my nigga?
Said LowKey TV, breaking fools off.
This is a Said LowKey TV production.
Said LowKey TV, breaking fools off.
Yeah. You a hopper fool?
Said LowKey TV, breaking fools off. Yeah. We on the west side, the 6 side, Majestics, worldwide.
Production. The Said TV Sunday conversation with one of the last OGs. My guy, SIMEON. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man.
All right. Well, me and you been talking back and forth for a minute. We finally got a chance to sit down, do the interview, and tell me what you know. Tell me, give me all give the people all
Well,
of.
you ain't got all night, for one thing. You ain't got all night.
We ain't got all night, but
I'll say this. First of all, my name is SIMEON GINYARD. I'm one of the last original OG lowriders. I will say I wasn't there from the beginning. I was close behind when it got started. Way close behind. You know, I say that because nobody knows really when lowriding started, you know. But I'll take you back in this storyline. What I'm going to tell you, I'll take you back some things that way before people know about what's going on. And who started lowriding? Nobody knows. Nobody really knows, but as time goes on. But anyway, I started lowriding back in 1966, 67.
66.
Yeah, I was still in junior high school.
Okay.
I was on Horseman Junior High School. And what I was doing, when I leave Horseman Junior High School, I would walk down Gramercy, coming home here, because we moved over here in 1960.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to 80th in Gramercy, there was a 55 Chevy, two-door Bel Air with Supremes on it in this guy's driveway, a lowrider. Now, remind me now, this is 1966.
66.
Way back then.
Okay.
This car was on the ground. I mean, this car was on the ground. You can't even see the back wheels. It was so low on the ground. And I passed by this car every day, coming home from school, walking home from school, from junior high school. And then, as years had turned, I met the guy who owned that car. His name was Renee Williams.
Renee Williams. Okay.
Renee. This is for you, Renee. This is for you, because he's still living.
Okay.
He's still around. He gonna laugh right now when you see this.
All right.
He started me as far as understanding the thing of lowrider, as far as looking at what I seen in life. And then from there, walking home from school, down Western Avenue from Horseman Junior High School, there was another lowrider that came down from Western Avenue. He'd be flying in a little Corvair Monza. He'd be riding in his little red Monza, singing off the top of his lungs. Singing, car full of women, talking to girls. His name, it was Augie Johnson.
Augie Johnson.
Y'all know who Augie Johnson is? Augie Johnson was the lead singer of Side Effect.
Lead singer of Santa Fe.
Side Effect.
Side Effect.
The group Side Effect.
Okay.
That's before your time, okay. See? Side Effect.
Okay.
Are you Side Effect? Side Effect, Gregory Matter, he's still living. So I went to Washington High School. And that's when I started liking Monza. But before Monza came along, I had other cars before that. So, coming up, I had so many different kind of cars. Before the Monzas, I had 55 Chevy, 56 Chevy, and I was going to Washington High School. My first car was a 1956 Ford Victoria, two-door. And I had that, work at the car wash right here in St. Andrews in Manchester. And I bought the car from my neighbor. And I had that car for about a year before my mama even knew I had a car.
Really?
Right in, I parked around the corner. But I used to leave in the morning, go around the corner, pick my car up, right of Washington High School. Anyway, my first lowriding car I got from a good friend of mine I still friends with today named Raymond Liddell. He sold me a 56 Chevy. And so from Washington High School, it got down. But anyway, going into time as far as, let me go back and talk about my view of who I seen coming up, because there's so many guys that you guys we wouldn't even know about, I could speak about.
Right.
But I gotta say it because I can't talk about the 70s and 80s because these guys are way after the fact. Now, back in the days, back in the 60s, there was a place out there in Hawthorne called A&W Root Beer. A&W Root Beer.
A&W Root Beer.
That's where all the white boys gathered. That way, all hang out on Friday, Saturday night to go there after their football game, and they were hot rods, and I can't really say they low rider because the only thing they did was just lower their car down. And then I don't know when it started, as far hooking up hydraulics in cars. That came a while. That came during that time. It was so funny because when our black people go out there and see these cars going up and down, back there on the car would go up and down like that, real slow.
Mm-hmm.
Go down, and they come up like that, real slow.
Right.
And so that's when everything started connecting. But years later, when I found out, as far as the hydraulic situation was concerned, if you know, out there in Hawthorne and Torrance, what's out there? Well, you don't know. I forget. Back then, you had a lot of aircraft facilities.
Right.
Like McDonnell Douglas, you had Boeing. And all the guys, all the men that came back from the war, the Korean War, Vietnam War, they was working at these aircraft facility plants, And what happened, even the guy that came back from the war working the plant, there were also a lot of pilots that came back and aircraft mechanics. Now, if you know, as far as all hydraulics started with old aircraft surplus parts.
Right.
Like cylinders, pumps, the rest of it. As a matter of fact, you can tell, I open my truck and show you the old school stuff. Old school, that's from old school stuff, not that new stuff they got. Aircraft stuff.
Okay.
And what happened is, I do believe back then, the fathers of some of these young boys taught these their sons how to make things go up and down and use the parts as far as things. I don't know that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying way back then, because everybody say who did what, I don't know. But it wasn't. I'm not gonna say blacks did it, and Latinos didn't do it either. They didn't start low riding. It came way after them. We had to learn. But in the same sense, there were places way out there in the city of Vernon.
Mm-hmm.
They called Pallies. Pallies was aircraft World War II surplus warehouse, where you go there and buy anything you want, warehouse, aircraft parts. And they sold lift motors like Pesco's, Adels, Bendix motors. He had different kind of cylinders. So they had T-tops, elephant legs. He had a number of different kind of cylinder parts that you could use in your car. And all those parts are still in this car. I'll show you later on.
Okay.
They're in the car. Hoses, anything you want to. They had a place out there on Hawthorne Boulevard, a place called Earl's. They sold the same kind of stuff. Motors and lift motors and all the aircraft parts. Okay. And so anyway, another thing besides buying the stuff, I'll tell you what some of us did, me and my boy Ray and other guys used to do. Out there in Palmdale, Lancaster, they had we call an airplane boneyard, junkyard. All the airplanes when they go to die are retired and they take them out of service. There's a big old airport out there, and acres and miles of old airplanes just laying in the graveyard.
Right.
We used to go out there. We got way out there and hop the fence and take off what we need. Because, on airplanes, all the rudders and things like that are done by hydraulic motors.
You said hop the fence.
Yeah. Oh. We were crooks. we were bad boys. We were definitely bad boys.
Okay, all right.
And we did it a lot of times. I almost got caught a couple of times. At one time, I hid in an airplane fuselage. The fuselage is the body of the plane.
Okay.
But I was able. We saw the security coming, looking around with this flashlight at night. I hopped in the plane, jumped in between the walls of the plane. That's a whole nother story. Don't worry that. But Bridgeside Park was like 67, 68, 69 for me.
Right.
It was going on before me. By the time I got old enough to go and get my own car and roll out there, I wasn't going out there before I had a car, because I had no business out there. That wasn't my take.
Right.
Other guys were going out there, but I wouldn't. I was in high school. So, anyway, Bridgeside Park was a gathering of guys, cars, and like some of the cars that you can see. My friends Sonny Sims and Greg Wyatt. These guys' cars. There's some of the cars that was Bridgeside Park. So I'll go out there the day before the parade, for New Year. Go out there at Saturday night to the park, camp out. We'll camp out all night long, drink beer, get high. I mean, hey, we got high back in the day. all we had was weed.
Yeah.
And drink and all night have a good time.
Right.
We wasn't in the popo. We wasn't in cocaine. I'm gonna be real.
Right.
I'm gonna be real with you.
Oh yeah.
On what we did. Cause some of your guys' parents, some of your parents was doing all this stuff. Anyway, we all supposed to be back in the day. But anyway, and then the next morning, we would get up from the park. We'd leave the park and go to the market. The market was the Ralph Market. Safeway. Go to Safeway. Safeway Market.
Okay.
It was on Fair Lincoln and Fair Oaks, I believe. We did the market. With a big old parking lot. All the cars come from everywhere. All lowrider cars there would come from everywhere. It was like a big old gathering, like a New Year's Eve party for lowriders.
Right.
And everybody show off their cars, hopping down and stuff in the parking lot, all the girls, all the girls.
Let me ask you this: back then, was it just all solo riders, or was it car clubs back then?
You know what? Car clubs. There was a few car clubs, not like they are now.
Okay.
Guys were very individual to their own thing. Everybody did their own thing, and that's how we got along. Car clubs, guys didn't want to get in car clubs because most guys like myself, I was in a couple car clubs back in the days, But I don't trust other guys like that, thieves like me.
Right.
I don't trust other thieves. I'm being real.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, back then, we were thieves. We were car thieves.
Right.
We breaking cars, take 8 tracks, 4-track tape, color bars, like you know, wheel. I take the whole car for the wheel. We were car thieves. That's what that is what we was good at doing back then.
And this is mid 60s. 60s?
Yeah, mid 60s and stuff like that. We were just thieves.
Okay.
I'm not gonna mention no name, but there was one. You know, one interview I saw. This guy he had me cracking up. He had said that this one guy, man, if you like, he'll steal your car. He just steal it. He just go from your house and just take your car, turn on. See, back then we didn't play that. We shoot you quick. You come up my driveway. You know, I mean, we didn't play that. And then if we know you're a thief, and everybody know you're a thief, everybody gonna be watching you. But it was almost like this guy was glorifying this guy that was a thief. Everybody know you a thief. So in other words, be nice to this guy. If you don't like, if he didn't like you, you know, he'll steal your car. I wish you would come and try to steal my. Anyway, whole different story. That's why I mentioned no name.
Okay.
But anyway, back then, Brookside Park was a thing. Everybody got along. Car club. Everybody there was on car club, but not like they are today. Car clubs, they are very organized. They very, very. Matter of fact, car clubs, they are big business. They're big business. Because you got chapters in different states.
Right. Well, I would say some car clubs are like that. Maybe it's a lot of offspring car clubs from bigger car clubs.
Yeah. Now one of the car clubs I would say, I always respected. Cause I knew all the guys that was in it. And this was a Mexican car club called the Dukes.
Dukes.
The Dukes.
Dukes car club. Yeah, I heard of Dukes.
It's old school.
Yeah.
Old school East LA, Whittier Boulevard. Cause we used to go ride back then. Myself, other little ride, we would go over East LA and go down Whittier Boulevard over there with our cars, and we was cool. We get over there, and the SA would say, "Hey, SA, big old, come get a beer, man." Yeah, big old box, like a case like that, full of beer. Mm-hmm. It just beer all night long.
Right.
And it was so cool, but they was old school. It was old, the dudes, the groupies. The Majestics was kind of back then.
Okay.
But there was a couple of other car clubs too. But those guys, you know. But anyway, car clubs, it's a good thing. But I just don't want to be organized.
Okay.
I just don't.
You want to do your own thing.
Do my own thing. I'm proud.
Okay.
Because one thing I could say, one thing that I would probably do my own thing. You know. And see back then, let me show you some things about cars. What we had in our cars back in the '60s. See, back in our days, we had 8 tracks and 4 tracks. You know, that's how they call it 4+4s. 4+4 is a combination of 4-track and 8-track together. Craig made those. Muncie Engineering made those.
Okay.
And we had and also too, we had record players in our cars.
I was just about to ask you that.
We had record players, 45s, album players, and they said, "Well, how you get it without jumping?" No, they made them for that. In the car bouncers, the needle and the record was on a spring thing. A spring where it bounced up and down with as you would roll with the car. Never miss a beat. Never miss a beat. So we had color bars, music plays, you wired up to your speaker, and it like bounced with the music. Yeah, Barbasonic. I got 2 of them in my garage.
Okay.
And we had FM tuners. We had all kinds of things for cars. that we had done. Plus the intention, and see back then, if you don't know, then everybody had diamond tuck.
Right.
Diamond tuck was the thing to have. Metal flake, yeah, blue, red, whatever. Everybody had diamond tuck. That was the thing to have back in the day. And for everybody's car, but we had so many cars back then, different kind of cars. And then you had the show cars. I'm gonna show you a picture of the guy's car. And Bob, this is for you, Bob Murphy. Bob Murphy, this is for you.
Bob Murphy.
Bob Murphy. He live in Compton, and he's still living today.
Okay.
And I hope one day we can interview him and his brother. Now they were low ride way before. Bob was low riding in the 60s. He had one of the coldest 5.7 Chevy right here. This 5.7 Chevy. Here it is in the car show. He lived in Compton. The coldest 57 Chevy you would ever seen back then. I mean, customized dual side pies, flare fenders, upholstery. It was just off the chain as far as looks concerned. Metal flake paint job. I mean, the car was hideaway windshield wipers. You know, it was extreme magnificent. And Bob really inspired me. I had a chance to meet him. I used to see him out there on the streets all the time. And it was amazing to know about. And I want to interview him. We get a chance one day.
Okay.
You know. And so that was days of doing shows. Now there was a guy out there now doing paint job. Let me go to the guy doing paint job. There was a guy out there in Long Beach called Bill Hines.
Bill Hines?
Bill Hines.
Okay.
He was a short guy, kind of a hunchback, kind of a short white guy. I'm like a dwarf. But this guy was so good as far as paint job, custom work, as far as doing custom work. See, back then everybody had these customized antennas in their cars.
Mm-hmm.
Customized antennas that they put antennas in the car, on the side of the car, dual antennas. Or they do flare fenders like this. You know, there were so many things that he did, but way before our time. So back then, it was just amazing how we did what we did back then. You know, as far as cars are concerned. Now, even with my car here, this car, Little Superstar here, have had so many different facelifts since the 60s. I had this car, I got this car in 60, late 69. Yeah, late 69. But I had a lot of cars before that. I'm just saying, but this car here, now you can see, it's 69. And it had different kind of facelift and different kind of changing. And I would just, and then basically, some of the things I had written in my book, you can see some of the changes I had done in my car. That way, I had done the one way. You know, that's why I customized it here. I thought I customized it back in the early, about 71, 72. But I have had different facelifts. Everybody thinking this car has been this way all the time. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. Matter of fact, here's another way it looked this way before I started customizing. It looked pretty stock, but it had hydraulics in it, and it got down on the ground. Now this picture here says Low Super Soul 1970.
Okay.
1970. But before I did all that, you know, I had a couple years doing stock paint job. I mean stock, but it wasn't painted back then. So I had this way and that way, but this car had different kind of facelift. So finally, I went. My friend William Bryant. William Bryant was, they called him the paint master. The paint master, and his shop was on Florence and Dinker. Everybody with him. He was a high roller painter. And somehow he took a liking to me. He said, "Tim, come man, let me paint your car for you." I told Will, man, I ain't got no money. I'm just poor man. He said, "Don't worry about it." I said, "I ain't got no money." Will, but somehow I had to go up there and watch the other cars get painted, come out there, and people knew. I had a rapport with people that he knew that got the. But I guess what he did, he liked my style on the way I rode. The car was always clean, it was always nice. But I don't know, man, I ain't got no money, man. I can't roll like that, you know. He said, "Don't worry about it. Let me paint it." And I said, "Okay then." He painted my car, and this was the way, after you painted, this is the way it looked. And that's the way it looked when you painted.
Let me see, hold that right there.
That's the way it looked. That's the way it looked when you finished painting. It was a pearl, orange, kind of pinkish color.
Okay.
But let me tell you the aftermath of that, what he did. Like, God, to people, always put God first. Always put God first. You put God first, things come to you. Things will come for you. We painted that car, and Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, at 9:30 at night. 9:30 at night. We pulled out of his spray booth on Western, on Florence and Dinker. Out of his spray booth. Went down Florence, got on the freeway. Got on the freeway, Harbor Freeway. The Harbor Freeway to the 405 freeway to the 710 to the Long Beach Freeway. Took it all the way around the freeway and ended up at the Long Beach Arena. My first car show. My first indoor car show for 3 days. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thursday, Friday. I'm all busy. Sunday, Saturday, and Friday night.
Okay. Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
They ain't got like that no more. Back then we had 3-day shows. They ain't got no 3-day shows. So I went there, cleaned it up, parked it, got there late. I said, "No, you can't come in. I said, "Man, William Bryant, paint manager, man, got through late with the car." Said, "William Bryant? Oh, William Bryant? Do you want William Bryant's car?" I said, "Yes, we will." "Oh, come on in." I said, "Good deal." Went on there, set all up. Had a good show. See that one, that green trophy right there?
Yes, sir.
That's my first trophy at that show. That's my first trophy. It was just an entry trophy,
Right.
but it was a trophy. I mean, look how big that one that thing is.
1971.
1971. I mean, come on now. I put out my garage. Sorry, I didn't clean it up. I didn't clean it up.
That's all right.
I put out my garage, but this is my first trophy. My first ever trophy at the Long Beach Convention Center. It wasn't customized. It wasn't customized and all that suicide door on their head. It was some clean upholstery interior and a nice paint job, and it was clean enough to win. Entry free for being there, so I'm good. I'm good for that.
Said LowKey, keep breaking fools off. What up, my nigga? Said LowKey TV, breaking fools off.
This is a said LowKey TV production.
Said LowKey TV, breaking fools off.
Yeah. You a hopper fool?
Said LowKey TV, breaking fools off. Yeah.